Her mascara was running by the time I looked up. Not because I yelled, I didn't say a word. I just handed her my phone. 1 hour. That's all it took. She thought she deleted it all. But it synced. Photos. Messages. Her and Greg, my best friend. Laughing. Naked. It started with a mistake. Not hers, mine. I handed her my phone. Just for an hour. Her phone had died, she said, and she needed to check something for work. I didn't even hesitate. That's how far down I'd sunk, trusting a woman who flinched every time I reached for her purse. Ashley. 31. Gorgeous, confident, always in control. My wife of 6 years. She's the kind who walks into a room and makes you forget what you were saying. She sells commercial real estate downtown, top closer in her division, sharp suits, perfect nails, always on. Always somewhere. I told myself she was just tired. That the distance was from stress. That she still loved me, just had trouble showing it. I built excuses around her coldness like insulation, praying it would hold out a little longer. I work in IT, infrastructure for a local college. Quiet, predictable. Nothing flashy, but I'm good at it. Pays solid. Benefits too. Ashley used to say she liked that about me, that I was stable. Translation, easy to manipulate. We didn't have kids. Never got around to it. Timing's not right, she used to say. Let's enjoy us for now. I believed her. God, I was stupid. That night, she curled up beside me on the couch, phone in hand. My phone. Said she was checking a closing document for her boss, double-checking comps. I kissed her temple. She barely leaned in. Said she was tired. She always said she was tired. What she didn't know was that 2 days before, I'd enabled full cloud sync on that phone. Photos. Videos. Messages. Social. Even deleted content. All mirrored to my tablet. All stored in real time. At first, I didn't check. I wanted to believe the lie a little longer. But curiosity's a knife with a velvet handle, soft at first, until it cuts. I tapped into the photo stream while she was in the shower. Then I saw it. It wasn't just one photo. It was dozens. Her in a silk robe I didn't recognize. Her in a hotel mirror. Her on her knees, smiling. Then the messages. Greg. My best friend. Since college. The guy who gave a toast at my wedding. The guy who helped me move into this very house. The guy who called me brother. His name was everywhere. Last night was unreal. You're getting bolder, smirking face. He doesn't suspect a thing. Maybe next time we go to your cabin. They joked about me. My routines. My schedule. They coordinated around it. I read every line with a pulse like a war drum in my ears. She wasn't just cheating. She was laughing while she did it. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream or throw the tablet. I set it down. I walked into the kitchen. Poured a glass of water. My hands were shaking, but my face was calm. I came back into the living room. She looked up and smiled, the same smile she must have used with him. And I smiled back. That was the moment I knew, this story wouldn't end with words. I watched her thumb flick across my screen. A flicker of confusion passed across her face. Then panic. She looked up, mouth parting like she might say something. But nothing came out. I held up my tablet. Guess it synced. She blinked. Her eyes darted to the device in her hand, then back to mine. Then the tears started. I didn't comfort her. I didn't move. I just watched. Like a surgeon watching a body reject an organ. Detached. Final. I can explain, she whispered. But she couldn't. Not to me. Not to the men she'd humiliated for months in group chats and backseat snapshots. The screen lit up again, a notification. Greg, still tasting you, winky face. I locked the screen. My voice came out quieter than I expected. Hours up. and I walked away. She followed me. Barefoot on cold tile, eyes wet, voice cracking. Please, just listen. Like it wasn't months too late. Like Greg's tongue hadn't already traced the truth into every inch of her. I didn't answer. I grabbed my coat from the hook, stepped outside. The air bit hard, January frost curling on the windshield. I needed distance. Clarity. Silence. Not her sobbing behind me like the victim. I drove aimlessly at first. Past the gas station where we used to grab late-night coffee. Past Greg's old apartment. Past the bar where he introduced us. I couldn't even remember what I'd liked about him. Maybe it was how he made people laugh. Maybe it was how he looked at everyone like he already knew their secrets. Now I knew his. My phone buzzed. Ashley. Please. Come home. Please just talk to me. I muted the thread. Parked outside the darkened college where I worked. The IT office sat empty. I had a key. I went inside. Fluorescent lights hummed above me like judgment. I sat at my desk, pulled up the synced archive. Started sorting. Organizing. Naming files. Each one labeled by date, timestamp, GPS metadata. I wasn't just looking for proof anymore. I was building a case. 2 years. That's how far back it went. 2 years of kisses behind locked doors. 2 years of quickies in Greg's truck. 2 years of girls' nights that ended in his bed. They were sloppy, way too confident. Once you think someone's blind, you stop hiding in plain sight. I found a video. Hotel room. She's laughing, telling Greg how I still thought she was, just tired all the time. That I was, so sweet, it's almost sad. They mock my sex. My job. My routines. She fakes moans and they both laugh. That's when my fingers stopped moving. I stared at the screen. Not in rage, not yet. More like a kind of death. Like watching the last breath of something I thought I'd always have. Love didn't die fast. It bled out slow, pixel by pixel, until there was nothing left but noise. At some point, I stood. Walked into the server room. Cold in there, 60 degrees, humming with power. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, letting the silence hold me. I thought about what kind of man Greg was. The calculated kind. The type who smiled too long, who complimented your wife in ways that weren't quite appropriate, but just shy of confrontational. The kind who waited until you weren't looking to make his move. And Ashley, God. The signs were all there. The locked phone. The sudden interest in gym nights. The way she stopped asking how my day was. The way she started showering right when she got home, even if she said she hadn't done anything sweaty. I let her. I let them. Because I didn't want to be the guy who admits his marriage is a lie. I didn't want to be the fool. But I was. I was the joke. And now, I was something else. I stood up. Reached into the drawer where we kept old project drives. Pulled out an empty 1 terabyte. Plugged it in. Dragged every file into it, photos, messages, metadata, screen recordings. Everything. I labeled the folder, Ash Greg, unfiltered. Then I opened a new document. Timeline. Locations. Patterns. I wasn't going to blow up. I wasn't going to scream. That's what they'd expect. What would make it easier to blame me? To flip the story? No. I was going to be methodical. Quiet. Surgical. The affair wasn't my end. It was my extraction point. I came home around 3 a.m. The house was dark except for the kitchen. Ashley had left the light on, probably hoping it would pull some guilt out of me. It didn't. She was curled on the couch, wrapped in the same throw blanket her and Greg once used for a picnic in the park. I saw the photo. Her face was puffy, mascara smudged. The fake kind of wrecked. Like she wanted to be seen as broken without actually feeling it. She sat up when she heard the door. Mark. I held up my hand. No drama. No words. Just walked past her, into the bedroom. Packed a go bag, clothes, toiletries, documents. I didn't slam drawers. I didn't break things. That kind of chaos is cheap. She followed me down the hall. Where are you going? I didn't answer. Can we just talk about this? Still nothing. Silence is a scalpel. Let it cut. I stayed at a friend's place. Not Greg's, obviously. Nate. Old coworker, divorced, kept a spare room for weekends with his daughter. No questions, no judgment. Just a bed, a lock on the door, and a decent bottle of bourbon. While Ashley texted walls of apologies, I built structure. Dates. Receipts. I pieced together a profile of her lies. Cross-referenced calendar invites with locations tagged in photos. Times she claimed to be at a showing, but the GPS pinged her 12 miles out at a cabin with him. Greg's cabin. The one I helped him install Wi-Fi at. The one I painted with him over 2 weekends because he said he couldn't afford to hire someone. I remembered her saying she hated cabins. Too rustic. Now I knew the truth, she just hated me in cabins. At night, I lay awake thinking about the way she had started using therapy words. You shut down emotionally. You don't validate me. She once accused me of being too comfortable in the marriage. That one stuck. Too comfortable. As if trusting her was a crime. I started looking through our group texts. The ones with her, me, Greg, and a few others. I hadn't scrolled back in years. But now I saw it, the shift. Greg started calling her Ash more often. Inside jokes. Memes just for the two of them. Photos of their lunches, their accidental run-ins. He always knew where she was. She once told me she hated poke bowls. But she sent him a photo of hers with extra spicy mayo, writing, "Can't stop thinking about the one from last week, face-savoring food. It was all there. In plain sight. And none of them thought I'd see it. Because I was the nice guy. The stable one. The man who holds the coats while others dance with your wife. My lawyer, Carla, had warned me. Stay calm. Collect. Do not confront until you're ready to move. The legal system isn't built for justice. It's built for documentation. So I documented. I emailed myself backups. Screenshotted their sexts. Created a burner Google Drive. Gave access only to myself and Carla. I wasn't taking chances. 2 weeks passed. I didn't block Ashley. Let her think there was still hope. Let her text me good mornings like it meant something. Let her beg to meet up and talk. I said I needed time. I wasn't stalling. I was staging. The unraveling wasn't just hers. It was everyone's. I started watching our friends. Who knew? Who laughed? Who stayed quiet? I noticed how Greg stopped showing up at Sunday brunch. How Lila, our mutual friend, texted me late one night, "I didn't know how to tell you. I'm so sorry." Didn't know. Or didn't want to. People always know. They just measure what it'll cost to say it out loud. The next time I saw her, she looked like a version of herself from before. No makeup. Hoodie. Hair tied back. The authentic look, carefully disheveled, like she thought pain made her more real. We met at a neutral cafe. Her choice. Public, visible, safe. She'd always been tactical that way. "I just want to understand what you're thinking," she said, wrapping her hands around a coffee she hadn't touched. I watched the steam rise between us. "You knew I'd find out eventually," I said. She blinked. I didn't mean for it to go on that long. A confession without the cost of truth. That's what she was offering. "You didn't stop," I said. "You just got better at hiding." Ashley swallowed hard, lips parting like she wanted to correct me, not deny it, just reframe it. That's what cheaters do. They don't lie outright, not after exposure. They manage perception. Try to bend the narrative around a wound they caused. "It wasn't just physical," she said. "Greg and he listened." I didn't flinch. I let her speak. You were always working. You never talked about what you felt. You shut me out. I watched her stir her coffee. Counterclockwise. Always counterclockwise. A control tick. She needed to feel like she was directing the conversation. I didn't cheat because I hated you, she added. I felt forgotten. Then you should have left, I said. Silence. A flicker of something crossed her face. Not guilt. Not grief. Fear. She knew I wasn't asking for reconciliation. I was laying groundwork. Her voice softened. You don't have to burn everything down. I almost laughed. Burn everything down. She already had. That night, I checked her socials. She had archived dozens of posts. Photos of us, vacations, anniversaries, gone. It wasn't grief. It was damage control. Trying to scrub her timeline before things got public. Too late. I had already shared the drive with one more person, Nate. Quiet. Loyal. Connected. He worked in communications at the college. Knew how to leak things the right way, and more importantly, how to trace the fallout without it pointing back to me. The plan wasn't revenge. It was leverage. Because Ashley hadn't just slept with Greg. She used her work phone to text him explicit content. That phone belonged to the firm. Her company's digital forensics would love to know how often she used it during client hours. And Greg? His business depended on HOA contracts, many of which came through Ashley's referrals. If those board members saw how personal their relationship was, they might rethink who they trust with annual landscaping budgets. I gathered it all. Screenshots, audio clips, metadata exports. I even recovered voice notes, sweet nothings she sent when I was asleep 2 feet away. Ashley never realized I'd planted tracking software on her laptop the day after I left. Nothing invasive. Just keylogs and cloud mirroring. She kept logging in like everything was normal. That gave me access to her journal app. Yes. She kept one. In it, she wrote things she'd never dare say out loud. Greg says he wishes he met me first. Mark's too nice. I feel guilty but I can't stop. Sometimes I wish he'd just find out and leave so I don't have to choose. She never had to choose. Because I chose for her. Each word she wrote, each picture she sent, all bricks in the gallows she was building. And I was just tying the last knot in the rope. The last file broke something in me. It wasn't a video. It wasn't even sexual. Just a single, badly lit photo, Ashley in my hoodie, the old college one she always said was too big, curled up on Greg's couch, holding a beer. My beer. The brand I stock in our fridge. She was grinning, cheeks flushed, middle of a laugh. It was the normalcy that cut deepest. The comfort. The familiarity. Like she had duplicated our life, just swapped out the men. I forwarded the image to myself. Then I opened the shared calendar we'd used for years, birthdays, bill reminders, dinner plans. I cross-referenced everything she said she was doing those nights. Business dinners. Client viewings. Spa night with Lila. Lila hadn't seen her in weeks. She told me that in a message I never responded to. The next morning, I made my move. I scheduled a consultation with a forensic analyst. Private sector. Discreet. High dollar. He walked me through how to extract deleted messages from Ashley's work laptop, recover drafts, pull up cache logs. What I found next made everything else look like smoke. Ashley had set up a secondary email account. A decoy. It wasn't the name that caught me. It was the recovery number, Greg's. They used it to book hotels. Share photos. Send calendar invites that didn't sync to her main inbox. It was their shadow corner of the internet, one they thought no one would ever trace. But I did. And inside that inbox, I found a PDF titled, Prenup Scan, Not Signed. Ashley had told me years ago she was fine without one. That we were partners, not business associates. She lied. The document was from a lawyer I'd never met, her lawyer. Dated 6 months ago. Filed under her name only. She had been preparing. Setting chess pieces. She just didn't expect me to play faster. I called my attorney. Carla was blunt. If she's got a separate legal counsel, she's thinking exit. You need to beat her to it. I filed for divorce the next day. On fault grounds, adultery. Carla built the case airtight. Evidence package. Timeline. Chain of proof. Witnesses. Even character references from friends who'd seen Ashley and Greg out when I was on call. I added one more thing, a cease and desist to Greg's business, citing conflict of interest and pending investigation into misuse of client referrals. It would take weeks to process, but it would rattle him. I wasn't done. I contacted HR at Ashley's firm, anonymously. Attached 2 work-hour screenshots and a photo with metadata linking her device to explicit content on company time. I didn't send the worst of it. Not yet. I wanted her to wonder. To stew in the gap between what I knew and what I might do. Ashley called me that night. She was crying again. They pulled me into a meeting, she said. Asked about some emails. I don't know how they found them. I said nothing. I think someone's trying to ruin me. I watched her words pop up in the message thread, typing, deleting, typing again. Is it you? I waited. 3 minutes passed. Then I replied, I gave you 1 hour. You gave him 2 years. She didn't text back. The next day, Greg called. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was tight, on edge. Hey, man. Can we talk? I think there's some misunderstanding going around. Misunderstanding. Like screwing my wife was a scheduling error. I blocked his number. Forwarded the voicemail to Carla. There's no misunderstanding. There's only exposure. And exposure is coming. Greg showed up at my door. Middle of a Tuesday. I was working remotely from Nate's spare room, headphones in, mid-call. I looked through the peephole and there he was, same smug posture, same Patagonia vest he always wore like a uniform. Except now it looked like armor. I didn't open the door. He knocked again. Mark, come on. Just talk to me, man. Man. As if that word still applied to either of us. I let him talk to the wood. Let him twist and sweat. Watched him check his phone, probably texting Ashley. I imagined the messages. He's not answering. He knows. What did you send him? He stayed for 6 minutes. Then left. Nate came home an hour later with a 6-pack and a grin. Your boy looked shook. Saw him downstairs pacing like a man who just realized the floor's been ripped out. I smiled. Nate didn't ask questions. That's what made him useful. That night, the final file landed in my inbox. Courtesy of the analyst. A screen capture from a shared cloud album Ashley must have forgotten existed. Caption, first time in your bed winking face. Greg's bedroom. Her bra on the lamp. My name graffitied in her absence. I forwarded it to Carla. Then I backed it up twice. Now I had every angle. Every room. Every lie. It was time. But first, a final loose end. Ashley's mother, Diane, had always been polite to me. Standoffish, yes, but civil. She taught Ashley that charm isn't warmth, it's strategy. I called her on a quiet Wednesday morning. Diane, it's Mark. Pause. Mark, is everything okay? Not really. I thought you should know Ashley and I are separating. I've filed for divorce. Longer pause. I see. She's been unfaithful. With someone close to me. Silence. I'm not looking for comfort, I said. Just transparency. I wanted to give you a chance to hear it from me before she spins it. Diane cleared her throat. She mentioned some tension. But not this. Of course not. She'll need support, I said. But not from me. Then I hung up. I didn't owe her mother anything. But I wanted Ashley to feel it, the wall closing in. No more hiding behind family. No more curated narratives. I booked an appointment with her firm's HR under a pseudonym. Just long enough to hand-deliver a flash drive labeled, Employee Conduct Concern, Time Sensitive. Inside, time-stamped emails, message logs, screen grabs of meetings joined late from hotel Wi-Fi. By the time Ashley arrived at work the next day, they were already calling her upstairs. Greg, meanwhile, lost 2 contracts in 1 week. Word travels fast through suburban HOA circles. And a few board members had recently received anonymous packets in their mailboxes. No threats. No slander. Just facts. People hate being lied to, especially when it costs them money. Ashley called me later that night. Voicemail again. You've made your point, okay. Can we please just talk like adults? Talk. Like adults. She thought this was the end. It wasn't. This was just the autopsy. I didn't tell her I was coming. Ashley had a Friday morning meeting at her office, 9 o'clock sharp, per the synced calendar I still had access to. I arrived at 8:45, dressed in the same navy blazer she once said made me look too serious. Fitting. Receptionist gave me a polite smile. I gave her a sealed manila envelope. For Ashley Reynolds, I said. Time sensitive. She'll want to open it privately. Inside, notarized divorce papers. Asset disclosure. The full evidence index. A typed letter, no anger, just data. And one final photo, her with Greg, timestamped 9:12 p.m., same night she told me she was with her mother in hospice. I didn't wait for her reaction. I turned and walked into the elevator. She called me 2 hours later. Voicemail. I didn't listen. Didn't need to. She was no longer part of the equation, just a loose variable with a deadline. Greg was next. His company's website listed a community event, open house for local property managers, part networking, part sales pitch. I walked in at 3:10 p.m. Name badge. Pressed shirt. Nothing aggressive. I blended. There were about 30 people milling around with wine and mini quiches. Greg stood near the back, holding court. Laughing. Always the same laugh. Like he knew something you didn't. I waited. Then, during his speech, I stepped forward and handed a folder to the event organizer, a gray-haired woman in a bright green blazer. I said nothing. Just nodded. She opened it mid-sentence. Flipped through pages. Screenshots. Contracts. The referral trail from Ashley's work email. A list of HOA members, and the anonymous packages they'd received this week. Her face shifted. Greg's eyes met mine across the room. Something flickered there, recognition. Fear. Maybe just the realization that his hourglass had finally tipped. I left before the questions began. Ashley tried texting that night. I can't believe you did this. You're destroying everything. No, Ashley. You destroyed it. I just turned the lights on. Saturday morning, I canceled the joint credit cards. Redirected all mail. Locked her out of the shared cloud storage. Revoked access to every streaming platform, every shared subscription, even Spotify. She could keep her playlist of lies. By Monday, she was suspended pending investigation. HR didn't call it punishment. They called it administrative clarity. Same thing. Greg's company issued a statement about ongoing vendor reviews. His face disappeared from the leadership page 3 days later. Ashley's sister messaged me, she's a mess. What did you do? I didn't respond. The better question was, what didn't I do? I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't destroy a decade of trust for a few motel hours with a friend who knew my Netflix password. All I did was document. All I did was finish what she started. She showed up at Nate's. I heard the knock, low and cautious. Nate cracked the door, shot me a look. It's her. I nodded. Let her in. Ashley stepped inside like the walls were armed. Her eyes were swollen, skin pale, lips tight like she was chewing every word before it could betray her again. I didn't offer her a seat. She stood by the island, hands clenched. I lost my job. I said nothing. She waited. You sent them everything. Still nothing. I could lose my license. That one almost made me smile. Not because I wanted to ruin her, but because she'd finally admitted the loss. The unraveling wasn't abstract anymore. It had teeth. She dropped her purse on the counter. What do you want, Mark? The question came too late. I wanted loyalty, I said. But I've downgraded. To what? Silence. She blinked. You're divorcing me. I already did. But. The court accepted the filing. Your lawyer should have told you. Her jaw tightened. Greg's blaming me. Says I manipulated him. Says it was emotional dependency. I raised an eyebrow. Greg has kids. You think he'll risk losing them over protecting you? She looked away. He said he loved me, she said, voice cracking. They all do until there's paperwork. Ashley reached for her bag. Pulled out a small, folded envelope. Set it on the counter. What's this? My statement. For court. You wrote it already. She nodded. It's not just about me. She stopped, hesitated. It's not an excuse. But I wanted you to know I didn't plan it to hurt you. You didn't plan not to. She swallowed. What you did, it was cruel. Cruel would have been public. This was strategic. Ashley looked around Nate's place. Sparse, quiet, clean. Are you staying here permanently? No. Where then? Somewhere you've never been. That landed harder than I expected. She flinched. I never hated you, she said softly. But you replaced me, I answered. Piece by piece. Lie by lie. And the worst part is, you didn't even miss me while doing it. Ashley opened her mouth, then closed it. That was her truth. Even now, she couldn't pretend otherwise. I walked to the door. Opened it. She lingered. You've told everyone, haven't you? She asked. No. Just the ones who matter. She stepped out into the cold. No coat. Just the hoodie. Mine. Still wearing it like it means something. The door closed behind her. Later that night, Greg messaged me. A wall of deflection, apology, weak regrets. She said it wasn't serious. It just happened. I thought you two were basically over. I typed one sentence back. So did she. Then I deleted the thread. Blocked him. Finality doesn't come with a bang. It comes in the echo afterward. The stillness where a friendship used to be. The quiet in a house that doesn't feel like a home anymore. The click of a door that doesn't open back up. 2 months later, I signed the final papers in silence. No courtroom drama. No tears. Just me, a clerk, and a black pen that scratched my name across the bottom of a page like carving initials into a tombstone. Ashley didn't show. Her lawyer handled it. Said she wasn't in a good place. Said she was seeking help. Whatever story she was spinning now didn't matter. The signatures were real. The accounts were split. The property divided. Her name was erased from the deed by noon. By sunset, the locks were changed. I didn't throw her things out. I boxed them neatly, every necklace, every mug, every yoga mat and mismatched sock, and left them in her sister's garage. No notes. No closure. She didn't get closure. She got silence. Greg vanished. Or tried to. Deleted socials. Changed his number. His company rebranded under a new LLC with a different name. But the damage was done. The whispers had legs. His face no longer showed up in the same circles. The HOA boards rotated new vendors in. People remember. And people don't forget betrayal when it's packaged in khakis and charm. Nate and I split a lease on a 2-bedroom in the city. Temporary, but clean. Quiet. A view of the skyline and no ghosts in the walls. I kept my job. No sabbatical. No escape to Bali or fresh start in Montana. I stayed. Sat at my desk. Pushed code. Ran meetings. Went home. Ate in silence. Slept 8 hours for the first time in years. Healing doesn't feel like peace. It feels like detachment. I didn't stalk her socials. Didn't ask mutual friends for updates. I let the timeline bleed dry. One afternoon, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. No note. Just a printed photo. Ashley and Greg. Same couch. Same fake smile. But different eyes. Haunted. Tired. Like the mirror cracked and finally showed her what she was. I burned it. Not out of rage, I didn't even feel warmth. I just didn't want that version of my past surviving in a drawer somewhere, waiting to rot. Some nights, I replay it. Not the betrayal, the moment after. When I stood in the doorway with the tablet in my hand, her face folding into horror. Not guilt. Exposure. There's no satisfaction in watching someone fall apart. But there is control in knowing you're not going to fall with them. I don't date. Not yet. Not out of fear, but choice. I've seen what love looks like with a mask on. I'd rather sit with silence than dance with another liar. People ask how I'm doing. I say, I'm fine. Not happy. Not broken. Just done. And that, for once, is enough.